Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Now, before we continue, I just wanna mention that I was a bit wrong about the reputation system in Mahakam. There are actually 3 reputations. The bad reputation, where you only get some cards. The normal reputation, where you get cards and 50 men. And a high reputation, where you get the cards and 100 men to join you. So there is no very high reputation. And now, let's continue. Nice, we've completed a card.
Impossible. I can't believe it. Gascon, he drank a dwarf under the table.
I've said it before, I think, dear Reynard. You simply underestimate him.
The following is proclaimed by formal decree of the Elder. From here on in, you're on your own, wench. In Blackbrook Vale, you're advised to never stop or stray from the road. Follow the Four Dwarves Codex. It'll save your life. Follow the Four Dwarves Codex. It'll save you. In Blackbrook Vale, Follow the Four Dwarves Codex. It'll save your life.
What is this place?
Blackbrook Vale.
Quite lovely.
Aye, and damned dangerous. Keep your arms at the ready.
So if we lose 20 men, we will get 2050 gold, 800 wood and piece of a card. I wonder if there is some super hidden ending where you're not allowed to lose any men on your journey, so that they can help you in your final battle.
Watch your heads!
Again and again and again.
Catch!
My spirit's willing and how, but damn boots are killing me. As ordered. Oh, could murder a pint. There's a time to reap, a time to sow.
Wait, you're serious?
Aye.
He's gonna pass now. He's not gonna pass now. Then I'm gonna pass.
Should've listened to me, old lady. This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
Company! Forward march! I fear not, for faith guides me.
When will you ever learn?
Blackbrook Vale. The name itself embodied infamy. Neve arrived expecting misty ravines, decrepit trees bound in spiders' webs, and swarms of bats. What she saw was a warmly gurgling stream and the valley's gentle slopes blanketed in crocus blooms. Only a village of abandoned, ruined huts and a cemetery stretching to the horizon behind it attested to the valley's grim past.
The village seems shrouded in a guise. Be not deceived,
said the Queen.
Reynard! Some men to search the environs for any sign of life.
The blood-curdling roar that came from the ruins a moment later proved the Queen's caution warranted beyond any doubt.
Protect the settlers!
Never fear! I shall protect you!
Should have listened to the old lady.
Discipline shall bring us victory!
I smell a leak. Are you mad? Don't shake that!
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads. My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull. Oh, could murder a pint. likely to last, that one. Should be safe now.
Following the victory, the settlers' hopes seemed renewed. Could the beasts they felled have killed the previous lot of colonists? Perhaps the curse that had long hung over Blackbrook Vale was at last broken.
We thank ye, Your Majesty.
The settlers' leader said, slipping the satchel from his shoulder.
You've granted us new hope. And a new home.
The dwarves had rolled up their sleeves, were prepared to go at the huts to repair them, when one of their number cried out.
Hold! There's something here. Something reeky.
A voice most familiar, thought Meave. Yes, for it belonged to Barnabas, the rescued inventor. The gnome had elbowed his way to the fore, stood on his toes, extended his nose, and inhaled through it like a pointing hound seeking out wildlife. Ignoring all queries, Barnabas had then sat down on the brook bank, filled a glass flask with water, and was now holding it up against the sunlight, dipping into it the tip of his tongue and some strange scraps of paper extracted from the depths of the pockets of his patched coat. Finally, Barnabas stood, brushed his backside clean, and announced his findings.
Well, we know with some certainty the reason for the settlers' demise. 'Twere not beasts, no. They prowled in later, drawn by fresh graves. 'Twas the water. Oh, roll your eyes and whirl your fingers all you want, and then, here at the brook, nary a fish. All poisoned by subterranean fumes.
The dwarves hemmed, hawed, and grumbled, and were a heartbeat from abandoning the Vale for good. Then Barnabas reached into his satchel and extracted a device of his own making he termed an aqua purificator. That is to say, a water cleaner, as odd as it may seem.
You need but siphon water through this straw. Then drink up, worry-free.
Thus Meave rode out of Blackbrook Vale, deep satisfaction in her heart. The dwarves extolled her for being bold, shrewd, and wise, while Gabor ensured this praise would likewise reach the meaty ears of Elder Hoop.
We're the dwarves of Mount Cadman, hoo-hoo-ha, hoo-hoo-ha, and 2 hammers is our sign, is our sign. We feed those suffering hunger, hoo-hoo-ha, hoo-hoo-ha, but our foes we smash asunder. Aye, 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 aye. Spill me ale and get a pound and hoo-hoo-ha, hoo-hoo-ha. Such is life neath the mountains, aye, 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 aye. Spill me ale and get a pound and Spill me ale and get... We feed those suffering hunger, hoo-hoo-ha, hoo-hoo-ha. But our foes we smash asunder. Aye, 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 aye. We feed those suffering hunger, hoo-hoo-ha, hoo-hoo-ha. But our foes...
The rumors Gabor had overheard were true. Scouts returned with news of a cavern at whose mouth lay rotted logs, an indication that something of great weight may have been rolled inside. Chests full of gold, for instance. Then again, paw tracks clearly showed some beasts had made the cave their home.
Right. Decision time. Enter or scramble back down,
said Gascon, rubbing his hands together for warmth.
Please hurry. This frost is downright biting.
We've scaled this high. Foolish we'd be to descend empty-handed. Fall in behind me!
The Queen took the fore, sword in one hand, torch in the other. The flickering flame's glow illuminated the cave's interior, casting long shadows. Meve was certain some horror would leap at her at any moment. And she was not at all wrong.
Together now! Anyone here struggle with strong reservations when entering monster-infested pits? Asking for a friend.
Aye. Quiet! The Commissar will hear.
Ah!
Again and again and again.
I fear not, for faith guides me.
My scars? No, they don't hurt.
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
They hide well.
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Should have listened to the old lady.
I smell a leak.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Oh, could murder a pint.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, a time to die. treasure trove ought to be close now. Come on.
As soon as the last beast had fallen, the Lyrians took to seeking out the treasure. Soldiers dispersed throughout the caverns in a rush, penetrating every last corner. Finally, one called out.
Got it! Got the treasure right here! Treasure! Shiny stuff!
A number of steel-reinforced chests lay up against the cavern wall. Meve blew the dust from the lid of one and lifted it with some difficulty. She had hoped for gold and jewels, bars of Mahakaman steel at the least. Instead, she saw thousands of time-tarnished copper coins with a hole through their center.
What's this bloody crap? Tokens of some sort?
Aye, that's right. Holy Guldens, we call them. They're, currency in Mahakam. Get our wages in them. Use them to cop victuals and hooch.
What of arms, armour, tools?
Nah, all that's given to us. Clan provides it. Is that what you need? Weapons? Oh, feel the Egypt now. Brought you here for no reason.
Yet these tokens, they can be exchanged for other coin, can they not? Temerian orans or Novigrad crowns?
Aye, doable in theory, but not at all clever. Rates are crap. See, the elders keep 'em low to make life difficult for dwarven folk, discourage 'em from leaving Mahakam.
What's this? Common dwarves use no gold? You cannot be serious.
Yet I am. What good's gold to them? Clan gives them all they need, and victuals and hooch beyond need they get for tokens.
Yet you trade with humans. Gold coin you take for your goods, the coin must serve a purpose. What is it?
We hoard it all. In vaults. Great piles. Down bottom lie ducats dating from the reign of that dozy ham-shanker King Dagrid.
And you do not put it to use? Acquire anything for it? Then it's true what folks say, that you love gold too much to part with it. Hoard it for pleasure, as dragons do.
Point of fact, that there's pure drivel. Gold's a metal like any other, just yellow. We hoard it for our safety.
Your safety? I fear again, I simply don't follow.
Couldn't it be simpler? Soon as human folk get it in their heads we's a thorn in their side, we'll spend it. All of it, in a jiffy. Excess coin supply, that's called. Matter of days, gold'll be worth less than sawdust. And you're tossing banks and economies, bam, on their arses. There'll be nothing left of them. They'll cave in faster than a mine shaft with rotten props. Why are you all ogling me? With human folk for neighbours, we dwarves got to be damn vigilant, as sheep round wolves.
So how can these tokens serve me?
We must trade them. Even should we get a pittance, it will be something. The soldiers demand their pay.
Ah, your bums out the windy. Fighting men want full dixies and tankards of hooch. Coins but a means to that end.
What do you suggest then?
As I've been saying, the tokens we use to purchase nourishment and mead, and what you've got in those chests, why, that'll do to fund a feast the likes of which Mahakam's not seen since Brewer was sworn in as Elder-in-Chief. The fighting men'll eat and drink their fill, carouse about and forget their due and pay right quick. And invite the local dwarves to feast with you, and the clans'll look kinder on you too.
Caution be damned!
Your Grace, I feel obliged to remind you we are at war with Nilfgaard, and every copper...
Should go to building our army, I know. But we live but once, Reynard. Sir Gabor, take the tokens, and arrange me a feast so grand that Ebdahi himself shall hear us revel.
As Meve's force could not possibly fit in a tavern, the feast was laid out in a storehouse. Crates arranged in rows served as tables and benches, while the windows were festooned with lion's foot and pasque flower. Great barrels of mead, cognac, and vodka were rolled in, and when the soldiers saw this, they broke out in cheers and laughter that lasted till dawn.
Pour us another round, you lovable Lyrian bastards!
For he's a jolly good a jolly good dwarf.
There was food and drink enough for the dwarves of the pass, who, with Meave's men, raised tankards in hand and voices in song the night through. To see them sharing tales and playing cards, one would not believe that anywhere down the mountains, through woods and across plains, humans and dwarves might, for the softest slight, leap at each other, murder in their eyes.
We would take root neath Mount Carbon, where it's warmer, but allotments would avail.
The sound of approaching hoofbeats made Meave turn to see Reynard spurring on his panting horse, galloping at a breakneck speed towards her.
Ill tidings I bring, your grace.
Clearly. Glad tidings never arrive with such urgency.
Our scouts captured a Nilfgaardian messenger. He was traveling in disguise, and by night. When he realized his capture was imminent, he strove to destroy the letters he carried. We were able to salvage some, in parts.
Anything of interest?
Yes, there is, I fear. Your Majesty, you must listen. Consider your offer accepted. Direct Meave and her force to the agreed site. We await their arrival. Your reward shall be as agreed. Hail Keritsa.
A traitor. We might have expected as much. Nilfgaard has shown amply that it abides only by the rules it sets. Since they have not proved able to defeat me in the field, in open battle, they seek other means. I suppose the scroll bears no name.
It does not, your grace.
The messenger. Have you questioned him?
Naturally, your grace. Alas, he knows not to whom the letter is directed. He was to leave it in an agreed spot.
I take it tidings of the whole affair have spread throughout the force?
Yes, your Majesty. The witnesses were too many to keep this fact a secret.
We must thus assume the traitor in our ranks knows it as well, and will make no attempt to retrieve the scroll. A dead end. Have we any other leads or clues?
None, I fear, your Majesty. We must be alert. Keep a keen eye on events as they unfold, and exercise great caution in forging new acquaintances.
Very well. Eyes wide open, all senses attuned. Yours in particular, Reynard.
Of course, my liege.
Okay, so here we can use Ike. And we've got a final card.
should have listened to me, old lady. This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad hens.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Ever have a stone knock out one of your teeth?
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Aye.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
I'd get up. I would, Your Majesty, but my arse is frozen to the ground.
We would take root neath Mount Carbon, where it's warmer, but allotments for the Vale.
Okay, so here we can invest some gold, and later we would get a much higher amount of gold because we invested. Now I've heard that you will get the same amount of gold no matter how much you invest, but I'm gonna invest the highest amount of gold.
We would take root neath Mount Carbon, where it's warmer, but allotments for the Vale. Curse of Blackbrook Vale's been undone! And by a human wench! We would take root neath Mount Carbon, where it's warmer, but allotments for the Vale.
Four Dwarfs Codex states it clear. If you're in a mine and something knocks, you'd do best not to knock back. Ever. I'd get up. I would, Your Majesty, but my arse is frozen to the ground. I'd get up. I would, Your Majesty, but my arse is frozen to the ground.
Riding past a mine, Meave noticed a group of miners gathered around the entrance to a shaft. Frost had settled on their moustaches and beards, suggesting they had been there for some time. The Queen summoned Gabor and asked him to determine the reason for this sit-in. He returned after a few minutes and announced the most curious thing.
They're waiting for the knocking to stop.
Meave's frown prompted Gabor to explain in greater detail.
According to our laws, dwarves can't go into a mine if there's knocking coming from inside. We're obliged to wait for the ruckus to quieten down.
Ah, yes. Our own miners share this superstition.
Reynard interjected.
They say the knocking is that of a treasurer gnome, a kind of mine ghost.
With all due respect, your miners are dimwits,
Gabor said, patting Reynard on the shoulder.
Knocking means an imminent and abrupt discharge of the potential pliable energy of rock formations. In other words, ye ken, a rock burst. Except usually it's all done in a day or two, whereas these lads have been waiting going on 2 weeks. Foreman's grown impatient. He'd like to send someone down the shaft, have them see what's at issue, but, well, the code forbids us from doing anything of the sort.
If in this manner I can gain favour among your brethren,
sighed the Queen, dismounting.
So be it. I shall descend and see what the problem is.
The shaft was too narrow to fit an entire army, so Meave and a small unit of men entered the mine, miners' lamps in hand, and hearts in their mouths. The rhythmic knocking coming from the bowels of the mountains, distorted and multiplied, was unnerving. Soon the company arrived at the place that seemed the source of the knocking. Gabor put his ear to the rock and listened for several moments in silence, then struck the wall with all his might. The wall crumbled with a crash, opening a passage into another corridor, from which sprang numerous foes.
Did you hear something? What was that?
My gnome senses are telling me. Those definitely aren't ghosts.
I smell a leak.
Ah!
So much anger and suffering. For what?
Who goes there? Drop your weapons!
Nay, you drop yours!
You mad? Don't shake that!
Who just grabbed me?
Oh, apologies, Maeve. I thought you were Reynard.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Aye.
Wait, you're serious?
Ah!
Company! Forward march!
Reynard! Are we winning? I can't see a bloody thing!
Stop! Stop! We surrender!
Both sides were surprised. Both fought in the weak light of torches, nearly down on hands and knees. In the end, the Queen emerged victorious, and as soon as she had returned her sword to its sheath, she asked the new prisoners a question that was on everyone's mind.
Who the devils are you?
The captives looked at each other in disbelief, as if before them stood a ghost. Finally, one of them managed to choke out a response.
Your Highness, we're your subjects.
Meve recognized the accent at once. The men came from Rivia. But what were they doing so far from home? According to the prisoner's account, after the Nilfgaardians' invasion of their kingdom, terrible poverty gripped the land. Seeking bread, some desperate inhabitants had gone to the mountains of Mahakam, engaging in wildcat mining in search of precious ores. Without asking the dwarves what they thought of this,
You know yourself, my queen.
explained one captured Riv.
They guard their treasure real jealous-like, don't care a whit about the suffering of others. They see us starving down in valley and don't lift a stubby finger.
Sadly, the Rivians had dug close to existing corridors. When Gabor destroyed the wall that stood between them and the dwarves, they were convinced they were being attacked by monsters, so they raised arms in self-defense.
Maeve, 'tis a tough nut to ken,
said Gabor.
but let's nae kid ourselves. These men are thieves, and we must hand them over to the Mahakaman Guard.
So they may do what? Sentence them to hard labor, or hang them at once?
Said Reynard, his usual calm shaken and his voice raised.
These are your subjects, Queen. They coveted their neighbors' goods, true, but only because they had nowt themselves.
Okay, so this is clearly one of the Mahakam reputation choice. So I'm gonna give these people in for more reputation.
If dwarves left the mountains to rob the fields of Rivia,
said the Queen after some consideration.
I'd want to judge them according to our laws. Like it or not, Bruverhook has the same right.
But, milady, you're us queen. You swore to protect us.
From harm, yes, but not from due punishment.
With a heavy heart, Meave handed the Rivs over to the Mahakaman Guard. What happened to them, I cannot say for certain, but they were not seen again.
Well, boys, a wee swig and we get back to work. Well, boys. Well, boy.
Meave's force neared Davor's abyss. Signs of beastly feasting were not hard to find. Countless paw and claw tracks were impressed in the blood-stained snow. Among the boulders, bones picked clean were strewn about. Gascon lifted one from the ground.
Empty inside,
he said.
Something sucked out the marrow.
Meave soldiers feigned indifference to the grisly sight. They marched on, their stepped rhythm unwavering, a song on their lips. Yet hearing a slight tremolo in their voices, Meave knew they merely sought to drown out their fear. A moment later, a commander's horn sounded, the signal to halt. The Queen galloped to the fore of the column and found herself at the edge of a vast, round hole in the ground. She could not see the bottom. Meave drew her reins tight to prevent her mount from taking even one step forward.
What is this? A crater? A desiccated lake?
A mine of the strip variety,
Gabor explained.
Treasures we picked and shoveled for here. Diamonds. Till we happened on the beasts, that is.
What now?
Orion's a dam. Holds back a lake. If we can break it, water will rush in, fill the abyss and the tunnels from which the beasts emerge. Just need to get around the mine first. Way down's on the other side.
Meave squinted and gazed into the distance. Indeed, there was the dam. And at its foot, a swarm of beasts roiled about. Her soldiers gazed at their queen expectantly, their arms at the ready. She knew well they would rush into battle, in spite of their fear.
Gabor!
Meave cried out over the whirling wind.
Have you bards here in Mahakam?
Course, your grace!
Then we shall give them good reason to compose this day, on the themes of courage, of heroism, of Lyria! Gee up!
And with that cry, the queen spurred her mount, grabbed a banner, and raising it high over her head, rushed headlong at the horrid swarm.
Here's the way down! We need to break through and destroy the dam!
Should have listened to me old lady.
Okay, this is a cool looking bug.
This could hurt. My pain serves a purpose.
Left, right, left, right.
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
The unworthy shall be punished.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
The chase is on!
Excellent! The dam's about to give!
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
It worked! Let the those gunners flounder!
Excellent work!
And indeed, bards sang of this battle soon after. For no claws or fangs could break through the wall of shields the Lyrians raised that day. And no scales could protect the beasts from the Lyrians' stinging arrows and blades.
Fight! Do not relent! Let us show these beasts! It is they who should fear us!
The Queen shouted. In the end, the beasts turned to flee, yet Meave's force cut off any chance of escape. A solid wall of men began to push the monsters ever closer to the edge of Davor's abyss. Pressed from all sides, the horrors began slipping over the precipice, screeching terribly as they fell. Silence came at last. The Queen stood at the edge of the precipice, breathing heavily, leaning on her sword. From the depths of the mine came muted growls and groans.
Let's flood the damn hole,
hissed Gabor,
before any other shite crawls out of it.
A rush of icy water suddenly rose, then just as abruptly plunged into the mine, flooding the pit. And where once lay Davor's abyss, now lay Davor's pond. Niamh descended back into the pass, exhausted and covered in beastly blood, yet also exceedingly pleased. She was one step closer to dwarven support in the war against Nilfgaard. Once the Lyrians had put some distance between themselves and the now destroyed monster lair, Niamh ordered her men to pitch camp. Then she sent the quartermaster off for food and drink. The soldiers lit campfires, then set aside their weapons. Soon after, lively music and song could be heard throughout the camp.
Your Majesty,
Reynard said from behind Meave's back.
A messenger from the Elder-in-Chief.
The Queen turned to see a dwarf in a richly adorned jerkin and a shako with golden seams. She stifled her laugh into a smile and lifted her chin proudly, expecting praise and a pledge of aid in the war against Nilfgaard.
My lady, your daring deeds have come to the Elder's attention,
said the dwarf in a measured voice.
He's positively irate and demands an explanation.
Irate? But why? I and my men, we've aided you greatly.
Elder Hug awaits at the Long Bridge. You'd be wise not to keep him there any length of time.
And with that, all the Queen's enthusiasm for a celebration was instantly gone. She waited until the fires expired and the songs died down, then gave the order to march.
And we will continue this in the next episode, so if you liked this one, give it a like, dislike if you think it sucked, and see you next time. Thank you.